Tennessee's only female inmate on death row now has an end date. This is Hold My Sweet Tea. Great googly moogly. I'm Pearl.
And I'm Holly. And who watched the story of Ed Gein on Netflix?
I started it.
My hands up. I finished it. I spent my entire Friday off binge watching it. I had to pause in between, to do some stuff. But I spent my entire Friday binge watching it. Oh my gosh. If you haven't listened, put some earmuffs on. Or if you haven't watched it, put some earmuffs on for a second. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but...
You may not want to hear it anyway.
Right. The acting is just on point, phenomenal. I'm so there for that. It was so good. Like we were discussing, I did have questions in the beginning about why all these flashbacks were going on, but...
Or flash fantasy.
Yeah, flash fantasies, but I understand it because of his severe schizophrenia. And I kind of get it. And I'm going to tell you, the last episode, I did cry. And I guess it was sympathy for the devil, but I had tears in my eyes. And I'm not a crier, but it tugged at some emotions.
The man.
Yeah.
It was sympathy for the man.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, or humankind,
yeah. But I mean, the devil they made him out to be, and his influence on a whole lot of stuff. But if you haven't listened to my episode on Ed Gein, which if you go back a little bit to episode 62, you can go listen to it before you watch the Netflix documentary. I think most of my stuff was on par. There was some stuff in the series that I was kind of questioning, where did this come from? Because I didn't see any of that when I was researching. But, it's really good.
Creative license, yeah. I guess.
Yes, I guess so.
Which we have but don't have. We can't add stuff.
No, we can't just ad-lib and go, oh, by the way, this happened.
For theatrics.
It's true. Yeah, we're not telling tall tale stories. We're giving you the facts.
The true crime, not
right.
The true crime plus something.
A little padding, yeah. I've heard several... and it's really hard. If you go on YouTube, I've heard several podcasts, embellish things, I think. But it's more on YouTube. There's all these, stories. There'll be oh, the mountain people of blah, blah, blah. You'll look it up. There's absolutely nothing on it. It was a made-up story that they're telling. So you have to be really careful when you watch a lot of these, because a lot of them are not...
stuff.
Right. And the AI
thing.
It's an AI voice. You can tell, and it's AI, and I use some AI stuff on our advertisement. I'll make some, especially with your devil man. There's no pictures of the devil man.
No.
I AI'd that. So, and I made, the video and everything. But there's a lot of things that aren't true. So you just gotta pick fact from fiction over there on those type things.
Which is why it's important, that we always list our source material. So you can always go check it.
Yeah.
And see. Read about it yourself in the same places we did.
For sure. And, speaking of mental health, what are you doing today?
Yeah, so I was going to say, this kind of goes along with where I'm headed today. It also kind of loops in my episode previously of Lisa Dodd and her boyfriend who was convicted of killing her and her unborn baby.
Right.
And mental health. And the age of people being convicted and sentenced to death and things of that nature. Just a kind of open discussion with our listeners.
Because the world that we were born, you and I were born into, is way, way, way different than the world now. And
oh, yeah.
Young people are struggling hardcore because the ideal of you turn 18, you move out of your parents' house, you go to college, you get a job, and you buy a house. That is no longer relevant whatsoever, unless you come from a family of money.
Right. It's so hard to be on your own anymore.
Right.
That it doesn't even make sense for grown adults in a lot of sense. Like people who are in their 40s, it's like, how many roommates can I get? Because my bills are piling up and I can't.
And this, and it puts pressure on younger people to go, well, this is what I'm supposed to do because these people have these old ideals of this. So it really puts pressure on their mental health.
And they all feel like they're failing at life. Like I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
I'm 21 and I'm a failure because I still live at home with my mom.
Or let me compare my life path to my friend who's doing so much better than me for some reason. And I don't understand why I'm not on that level. And then they like are so down on themselves. And it's like so sad to watch because it's like no two lives are the same.
Yeah.
Everybody's path is different. Don't take this privileged person whose parents have tons of money and can help them in any way, shape, or form and compare it to your life when you live with, middle class income family who's like all of y'all are contributing to the household and just barely making it. Like those two things don't compare. Those are not apples to apples.
Nope, not at
all.
And this is why Pearl and I want to start a compounds. We can just have all of our kids in tiny houses, like living on it with us. Because I would never tell mine that he has to move out because he's a certain age, or he has to move out because of some social norm that should be, from the 1950s or whatever.
Right.
Like absolutely not. He can live with me until whatever. I don't care.
Exactly. This is not the Cleavers.
No, not at all. I am not June Cleaver.
Not the Cleavers world. So in order to kind of just push the whole talk to me, let's discuss this and just talk about each side of this, I am going to share a lot of details in what happened to this person who was murdered in this case, just because I want you to see how terrible it was. And then I'm going to tell you about the person who did it as well, and their past and their age. And then you combine these two things and you have to sit and think, was this the right decision to make when they were convicted back then? Is it still the right decision?
Right.
Like, it's questionable. I mean, it's up in the air. People are questioning it. There's a lot of advocacy for the inmate, but it's like, but what about this? Like, what about what they did? Yeah. Like, and the sheer fact that I feel like some of the stuff in here will show a lack of remorse in that sense. But was it because they were immature, or was it because they were proud of what they did? So this is kind of like a back and forth, and I just want to throw everything out there so you can go,
right,
basically,
because you never know what's going on inside of a person's head, and they're so young and so impressionable. And I'm not condoning violence or murder or anything, but let's listen to the whole story.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
Okay.
And so if you don't want to listen to all this, the parts of the murder, I don't know how else to say it. You may want to skip the entire beginning of this because that's where we're starting. So I know a lot of people have seen that Christa Gale Pike is a Tennessee death row inmate that they've just given her an execution date. It's next year. But I want to tell you about Colleen Slemmer, which is the girl that they murdered.
Okay.
So there were 3 friends. It's Christa, her boyfriend, Daryl Ship, and she has a friend that was also there. Her name's Shadala Peterson. It said that Peterson kind of just witnessed all of this stuff, like she was present, but it doesn't seem like she participated, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
But she's still complicit based on her
Yeah.
presence, and she didn't try to help. She just was there. So, well, all of these people were students at the Job Corps Center in Knoxville, Tennessee. So they all went to school together.
Yeah, so they all were acquaintance, classmates.
And there was like a pretty strained relationship between Slemmer and Pike. Colleen was like being accused, I guess, of running her mouth to everyone, everywhere, whatever, and that she was trying to get with Pike's boyfriend, Ship.
Gotcha.
So there's some bad feelings, some bad blood running around here between Colleen and Christa. On January 11th in 1995, I was 15, or about to be 15, Pike told another friend, and we're just going to call her Kim because I don't need to disclose everybody's last name under the sun.
Okay.
And Kim's also a student, but she's telling Kim that she intends to kill Colleen because she just felt mean that day. Like, she's just mad, angry, and I just feel mean. Like, she's obviously feeling she's got to get it out somehow, some way.
By murder?
Apparently so.
That's.
So the next day, January 12th of 1995, it's about 8 o'clock at night, and Kim sees Christa along with Colleen and then Pike's boyfriend, Christa Pike's boyfriend. We're just going to call him Ship because I like his last name's easier.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And Peterson, her friend Peterson. And they're all walking away from the Job Corps Center in the direction of 17th Street. And then about 2 hours later, she sees Christa, Peterson, and Ship come back to the center, but Colleen's not with them. So later on that night, Christa goes into Kim's room and tells her that she just killed Colleen. And she has a piece of Colleen's skull.
So just nonchalant.
Yeah, like
I
just,
killed her.
I killed her. I kept a piece of her skull. She tells Kim that she cut Colleen's throat 6 times, had beaten her, and even used chunks of asphalt she like threw at her head or hit her in the head with.
Holy moly.
She told Kim that Colleen begged them to stop cutting and beating her, but they didn't stop. And she says the reason she couldn't stop was because Colleen wouldn't shut up.
Well, she's being assaulted viciously. So, yeah, I don't think anybody would shut up.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And she's saying that she tells Kim that, like, when she threw a really big piece of asphalt at Colleen's head, it broke into, like, smaller pieces. And she just kept picking up the pieces and, like, chunking them at her and hitting her in the head with them. And she said that she had cut Colleen's throat with a meat cleaver and a box cutter.
So she just had all these weapons on hand.
Yeah. So she plans.
Yeah, it was all, like, completely planned. This. Like, she brought weapons and everything.
There was, at least in her part of this, there was malice aforethought.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So there's stuff that says that Christa had told Kim also that there was a pentagram carved onto the victim's forehead and chest. And Kim also says that Christa was kind of like dancing around in a circle while she was telling her, and that she was like singing and smiling like la 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 la. Like she had zero remorse for what she had done. She was actually like happy she did
about it. Yeah. Like, look what I did. Ha ha ha.
Right. And Kim says at breakfast the next morning, Christa actually was talking to her again And she had asked Christa what she had done with the piece of Colleen's skull that she said she had. And she told her, oh, it's in my pocket. And she's like, and yes, I'm eating breakfast with it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So nobody has contacted the police?
Nobody's called the cops.
Nobody called an ambulance?
Nobody called anybody for anything. They've just they're just listening to her tell them. Like,
are they all afraid of her?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, maybe. I mean, I can't imagine she's like making the best faces while she's doing this. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, not even Peterson. She's like witnessed this entire thing and she hasn't said a single thing. The boyfriend's participated in this, so he's not going to tell. Right. And I mean, maybe Peterson's not telling because she feels like she's going to get in trouble too.
She's like, oh, I'd be next or something.
Yeah, who knows? But during class later that morning, it's apparently reported that Christa also made similar statements to another student named Stephanie. And that she even pointed to some brown spots that were on her shoes and was like, that's not mud, that's blood. And it said that she actually pulled a napkin from her pocket and showed the piece of bone to this other student. She again relayed that she had cut her throat 6 times and beaten her in the head with a rock. And then she tells Stephanie that the victim's blood and brains had been pouring out. So that's why she picked up that, like, that's how she got the piece of skull. It was mixed in there.
Yeah. Like, that's
not a single person reported the crime to the police.
And I don't feel that's any type of insanity because she just keeps going on about it, you know?
She is bragging.
She's bragging. She's proud. Like, look what I did. Everybody give me attention.
Right. And it's not just like she's bragging to one person. She's
multiple people. Yeah, multiple people never said anything.
So, like I said, none of these people they've talked to have said a single thing. Nobody reported the crime to police. Nothing. Some of the grounds employees end up finding Colleen's body on January 13th. The employee that found her testified that the body was so badly beaten, he thought it was like the corpse of an animal at first.
Oh, crap.
Then he realized it was a human female because they had made her take off her shirt and bra when this all started. So she was topless because they didn't want her to run away. So
that's their way of you from running away.
Their way of keeping her near them was they thought was to make her take off her top. So that's how he realized it was a human, because he saw exposed breasts when he got closer and then saw the clothes next, like, strewn about near her.
That's when you crisscross, grab your titties and run.
Right. Right. Literally, the investigating police pretty quickly find out about Christa Pike's connection to this crime. And so they're interviewing her already on January 14th. And she waives her Miranda rights and gave a complete statement to the police about her involvement in the murder.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you what she said.
Okay.
So, as recounted by the Tennessee Supreme Court, she claimed that she had not planned to kill her, but that she instead had only planned to fight her and let her know to leave her the hell alone.
That's not what you said to your friend.
Right. She did admit that she had taken a box cutter and a miniature meat cleaver with her, and that she had borrowed those from someone else, but refused to identify the person who loaned her those items. So, yeah.
Wow.
According to Christa, she asked Colleen to go with her to the Blockbuster music store
We worked there. Not
Not
that
this
one,
one.
but we did work there, though.
And as they were walking, Christa tells Colleen that she has a bag of weed hidden in Tyson Park. So even though she's telling all this stuff to the police, she doesn't name the other people who were present.
Okay.
Instead, she's just kind of saying he and she for the other people. But she says the group began walking towards the campus, and while arriving onto the agricultural campus area, there's like a steam plant. And she says that at that point, she and Colleen start kind of arguing. And then she begins hitting Colleen and banging Colleen's head on her own knee, like on her knee, like on Christa's knee. So Christa's got her head and
raising
banging
her
it.
knee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she says then she throws Colleen to the ground and kicks her repeatedly. According to Christa, she slams Colleen's head against the concrete, and she tells police that while she's doing this, she's asking her, "Why are you doing this to me?" And she's like, yelling threats to report her and all this, like telling her how her beating her up like this is going to get her terminated from the program. Like just
anything to make her stop.
Yeah, she thinks that all these threats are going to make her stop what she's doing, but it doesn't. So she just continues to kick her in the face and in her side. And she's like saying, Colleen laid on the ground and cried for a long time. And then she decided to try to run away. But one of the other people with her caught her and pushed her to the ground. So Christa only describes this other person who pushed Colleen to the ground as he.
Okay.
And she says he held Colleen down until she stopped struggling. Then they dragged her to another area where Christa used the box cutter and cut Colleen's stomach. And Christa says she just screamed and screamed. And then she says at this moment in all the screaming that Christa says she begins to hear voices telling her that she had to do something to prevent Colleen from telling on her and sending her to prison for attempted murder.
Wow.
So this is the point where all this is running through her head and she's just looking at Colleen, watching her bleed, and Colleen musters up some energy again, tries to roll over, stands up, and tries to run again. And at this point, Christa just lashes out with the box cutter, and there's a big long cut on Colleen's back while she's trying to run away.
I'm going to say, if you've ever been cut by a box cutter, it hurts. I have cut my fingers so many times with a box cutter, and ow.
Yeah. And according to Christa, Colleen repeatedly tries to get up and run. Throughout this whole struggle,
she's still trying to get away.
She's still trying to get away. And she's bargaining for her life, begging Christa to just talk to her and saying, if you just let me go, I'll walk all the way back to my house in Florida. I won't even go to campus and get my stuff. I'll just go home. Mm-hmm. She's just trying anything to get her to stop what she's doing so she can get out of this with her life, obviously, because now she knows this is getting worse and more serious, and the chances of her getting away are slim. During all of that, Christa tells Colleen to shut up. She said, I need you to shut up because it's harder to hurt somebody when they're talking to you. But she also said the more she talked, the more it made her kick her in the face. I guess that was her way. She wouldn't stop talking. She was trying to make her stop.
And this has been going on for quite a minute.
Yeah.
all of this stuff.
So Colleen asked Christa what she was going to do to her. And at this point, Christa thinks she hears a noise. So she actually leaves the scene to check to make sure nobody was around. And when she comes back, she starts cutting her across the throat. Mm-hmm. While these throat cuttings are happening, Colleen's still trying to talk, still trying to beg for her life, and Christa just keeps slicing. She tries to sit up even though her throat's been cut several times, and Christa and he would just keep pushing her back on the ground. There was like a final attempt for Colleen to try to run away, and that's when Christa picked up a big old rock and hit her in the back of the head with it. And Christa stated the other person also hit Colleen in the head with a rock. And when Colleen fell, they just continued to hit her. Eventually, Christa says that she could hear Colleen breathing blood in and out. And she could see her jerking, but they just kept hitting her and hitting her and hitting her.
Poor girl.
Christa says she asked Colleen if she knew who was doing this to her. She said the only response from Colleen was groaning noises. She says at this point, her and the other person grab Colleen by her feet and drag her to like a pile of dirt and debris. And that's where they left her. And they threw the clothes that they had made her take off onto the pile with her. She also, this part's a little bit weird. She said she had pulled a rag from her hair, like Christa had pulled a rag from her own hair and tied it around Colleen's mouth at one point. Her boyfriend, in his statement, says they found this rag by a dumpster. So I'm not sure where the rag came from. It's irrelevant, but they at some point tried to gag her. But Christa says she did not carve a pentagram in the victim's chest, but that the other person had cut the victim on her chest.
So did we ever figure out who the other person is, or did
the other person is her boyfriend?
Okay, that's what I'm making sure, because she kept saying he,
because he's also prosecuted, and that's why I said we're going to go through this a couple of times because it's a little bit important to see.
Right, both sides. Okay,
to see both. So they have a doctor because, of course, Christa's whole defense is going to be her mental health. That's how they're centering it. And Dr. Eric Engum testifies that he had examined Christa, and although she suffered from no symptoms of brain damage or insanity, she did suffer from very severe borderline personality disorder. And I think it's irrelevant, but exhibited signs of cannabis dependence and the depressive disorder may be relevant to this, but I don't think her cannabis dependence.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If anything, that kind of
chills you out
with BPD, because literally I
lived with someone
for 7 years with that.
Yeah.
And that would be the only thing that would calm him down.
So the doctor testifies that there's no question that Christa Pike killed Colleen, but he's trying to say she didn't act with deliberation or premeditation, but that she just simply lost control. Additionally, a forensic psychiatrist with a specialty in satanic rituals testified that Colleen's statements and the medical and psychological reports prepared by the other professionals involved in this case concluded that though the crime had satanic elements, it appeared more indicative of an adolescent dabbling in Satanism. He discussed the phenomena of collective aggression. So he's trying to say, because she was with a group of people, they became emotionally aroused.
Right.
And the end result is this extremely violent act.
And that, not the violence, but with a young people in a group, they tend to
feed off of one another.
Feed off of each other, and the leader, the one that's most influential, they kind of mask that and go with what they're doing.
Yeah. So despite all of that, the jury does convict Christa of premeditated first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder under Tennessee law.
Wow.
The judge sentences her to 25 years imprisonment on the conspiracy conviction and held a sentencing hearing to allow the jury to determine whether to sentence Christa to death for that conviction. And obviously we know how that turned out.
Yes.
Now, they did have people testify at the sentencing hearing, and all of them testify about Christa's difficult childhood and behavioral problems she had through adolescence. And I don't feel like the jury felt like that was a good enough reason for her to be acting out this way.
No, not at all.
So they do sentence her to death, saying that the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel, and it involved torture and serious physical abuse beyond that which is necessary to produce death.
Right. Like, she really drew it out and it was reveling in the torture and the killing. Like, she was getting something more out of it than,
right,
I think, a normal person. I don't know. I can't really say, like, self-defense is different, but like a normal serial killer, they have like their method, but I don't think it goes, the torture part goes so far. But I mean, could be.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like I said, which is why we're here.
Yep.
To discuss, could abuse during your childhood and everything else be the reason you just mindlessly would do something like this to someone else. But I don't feel like it was that mindless.
I don't either, because she, the things that she said before, and the premeditation and the bringing the weapons, and it was already in her head. So it's not a moment of her snapping and slipping into something from her childhood that triggered her, and then it happened.
Yeah. It's insane. Completely.
Absolutely.
But she's not. Just the situation is. She apparently is not. So her friend, Peterson, she pleads guilty to being an accessory after the fact. And she receives a 6-year probationary sentence because she becomes a witness to all of this. And she testifies against these other two. So that's her deal. So we're going to talk about the he.
The he.
Ship. He gets charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. And while Christa was 18, he's 17 at the time that all this stuff goes down. So we're going to talk about some friends of his who talk to him and see him in the days prior. So January 12th, Ship tells a friend, Kip, that he had to make a human sacrifice because the celestial bodies were in alignment. And Kip says that Ship was carrying a Ouija board with him while they were having this conversation.
Again, like the doctor said, that's adolescents dabbling in something that they don't understand.
Correct. Okay. So the same day, a guy named Daniel encounters Pike, Peterson, and Ship on campus. And they ask him if he has seen Colleen. And he says that Ship says, when we find her, she's dead. Daniel admits that he may have attributed this whole statement to Christa, but he kind of said he was shook up at the time, and his recollection of all of this, like, it could have been her, it could have been him who said it, but somebody said it.
Yeah. He remembers it being said, but was it him or her? I don't remember. Right.
But he said he felt like it didn't matter who said it, that all three of them seemed to be in agreement with that statement. So, again, it goes back to the day of the murder where Christa tells Kim that she's going to kill Colleen. And she says that Christa also had told her that she was looking for Peterson so she could get a box cutter from her. So probation friend,
right,
very well could have been the contributor of said box cutter.
Okay.
So Shipp gives a statement to law enforcement shortly after the murder. Same kind of conversation about how they left and they walked to Tyson Park, and that they got into an argument. And Shipp is saying that Christa actually confronted Colleen about Colleen's interest in Shipp himself. So he's basically saying they're arguing over me.
Oh, he felt so important, didn't he?
Yeah. So that's where she makes Colleen take off her shirt,
mm-hmm.
and then everything gets violent from there. He says that as the confrontation escalated, that Colleen actually started grabbing at him. And so he pushed her and slapped her. And then Christa starts cutting her with that miniature meat cleaver. And he can see that Krista's getting madder the more this goes on. He then tries to implicate Peterson, saying Peterson had the box cutter and joined Christa in cutting and stabbing the victim. So now he's trying to implicate her.
Somebody, yeah.
When she's saying, "No, I just stood there," and obviously Krista's saying she didn't do anything. She's only referring to him helping her.
Right, the whole time. He.
Yeah, the entire time. And he also verifies the statement that Colleen's pleading for them to stop, and that she'd walk home to Florida and she wouldn't go back to the school. He's confirming this is all true. This is what she said. He then also admits to having tripped Colleen as she's tried to run away. And he said when he tripped her, she hit her head on a rock. He also says that he did participate in cutting Colleen 3 or 4 times, including on the arm with the box cutter. So now all of a sudden he has the box cutter.
Right.
And that after Colleen had been seriously injured, she was talking and screaming really loud. And so this is where he says he found a rag by the dumpster and shoved it in her mouth. So this is why I said there was that discrepancy on the rag. He said Colleen again tried to run, but she fell in some mud. And so he went and brought her back so they could continue beating on her. And this is where they're hitting her with rocks. And he's now saying that Peterson is the one who hit Colleen with a brick or a piece of asphalt. And then it came apart, and then Christa started picking up the pieces and was hitting her. He then tries to say that he became very uncomfortable with the assault and walked down the hill. But then later he came back and saw Colleen's head was all busted open on the side. And that she was gurgling and breathing. So he's trying to say, I wasn't here when it got so bad that she was dying.
You literally prevented her from leaving a couple of times to get away.
Then he says that he and Christa together carved the pentagram in Colleen's chest. And admits to helping move Colleen to the debris pile. He then says they all washed their hands in a mud puddle and then went to a gas station where they washed and like washed her hands again and threw away some of Colleen's stuff. He says he got back to the school before the other two when Kim said they all came back together. And that, Christa came back and was telling her friends about how she killed Colleen and she was afraid she was going to get caught. And I'm sitting here going, didn't sound like any of them said anything about her saying she was afraid she was going to get caught.
No. She was boasting about it and telling how she did it. And here's a piece of her skull.
Yeah. And, I mean, even Kim saying, like, at Christa's trial that the boyfriend had assisted in the killing, but he's trying to make it seem like, well, I did these little things, but I didn't kill her.
Right. I did some of the stuff, but not the killing part. Trying to make himself seem better for some reason. I mean,
yeah.
You shouldn't have participated in the beginning.
So funny stuff. On the afternoon of January 13th, Christa and Ship went to get identification cards from the Job Corps orientation specialist, and Christa had left her jacket in his office, which when he later returns that jacket to the Job Corps security supervisor, who then turns it over to the police, they then find the piece of skull in the pocket. So I just thought that was a tidbit of proof.
Yes. So all of her stories are...
Yeah. There's people who testify that they were in the area of Tyson Park, saw them and could hear arguing, but couldn't hear the specifics, but didn't stick around for any of it. It's crazy, but one of the detectives said that he, in addition to the statement about the murder, that Ship had told him that he had dabbled in Satanism since he was 10. He said that Ship also said that Christa was pretty deep into satanic worship, and that both of them were wearing pentagram necklaces when they were taken into custody on January 14th. Ship also told him that he had satanic paraphernalia in his room on the Job Corps campus. And he also was wearing a hexagram earring and hat pin. Now, despite his friend testifying that he said he needed to have a human sacrifice, Ship tells police, however, that the killing had not been a planned satanic offering. He said he carved the pentagram on the victim's chest and then thought that Colleen could be a satanic sacrifice. Ship claims that in his mind, the killing had nothing to do with the fact that the following day was Friday the 13th, saying that was the devil's birthday. So, Ship says that he was really unaware of any plan to kill Colleen prior to it actually happening, and that Christa had only told him and Peterson that they were going to get Colleen somewhere and do whatever they could to her. No actual specifics. He said he thought that just meant they were going to beat her up, but he did know. He did know that there was a box cutter and miniature meat cleaver being brought with them, but he just thought that they were going to be used as like a scare tactic.
Like, ooh, I've got weapons. But she literally said it that day. So via autopsy of the victim, bruises on the victim's body were afflicted between 30 and 45 minutes prior to death. So this is a long beating that she took. Right.
Like you said. Numerous lacerations and slash wounds. All of those were not something she would have died from. They wouldn't even render her unconscious. They end up saying that the cause of death is actually blunt force trauma to her head, and that Colleen's sinuses and lungs filled with blood after that head injury to the base of her skull,
Mm-hmm.
and that she essentially drowned in her own blood.
Which was, she was gurgling, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, law, like, how ridiculous
Yeah.
is all of that?
And then, teenagers are going to go backpedal and tell all kinds of stories. And he said, she said, finger pointing, blaming, all of that's garbage.
Mm-hmm. So if Christa Pike's execution goes as planned, she'll become the first woman put to death in Tennessee since the state began to formally document capital punishment more than a century ago. After attempted appeals by her attorneys have repeatedly failed, the Supreme Court on Tuesday set her date for her execution, and it is to be carried out September 30th, 2026. The prison warden is obligated to notify Christa of the method that the Department of Corrections will use to execute her by August 28th.
Okay.
Not that they say that this is a thing. So they say the inmates get to choose right now because of some issues they've had with lethal injection in the past.
Yeah.
So they're still allowed to choose whether they're lethal injected or electrocuted.
Right.
At this point. However, it sounds like they're not giving her the choice. They're going to make the choice for her and let her know. I guess if she argues, maybe they'll allow her to change it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're going to die in result anyway, so
yeah, and they say that like between 2018 and 2019, like 5 inmates have selected electrocution as their method.
That's a wild story. And
yeah,
I mean,
now they say that fewer than 50 women on death row nationwide.
Yeah, it's
and
not
that,
a lot, not as many as men.
Like the United States itself has executed only 18 women since modern application of the death penalty in 1976. So,
yeah,
all of that.
Oof, that's a tough one there. But I'm sure mental health did play a huge role in that. But, I mean...
And they really say that society's view of who is truly deserving of a death sentence has, like, changed significantly
it really
since
has.
Christa was sentenced. And they think that maybe things might have played out a little different based on her age because she was 18. Her mental illness and physical and mental abuse that she had suffered at the time of her crime would likely have persuaded juries today that she's not someone who would receive the death sentence. Like, I think that they think juries now are sentencing fewer young people to death than they used to.
They're a little more sympathetic and
because I
understanding, I guess.
A lot more mental health issues and abuse stuff. Like, it's more talked about now than it was in the past.
Yeah, nobody talked about it back then.
And so while, I think there's only like 3 states that still practice the death penalty and impose new death sentences on a person between 18 and 20 over the last 5 years.
So they try to rehabilitate them first.
Right. So I think that literally you're more likely, like, they're just more likely in general to give life sentences over sentencing people to death in that age range. Because I guess they feel like while you're considered an adult, you're still immature on a mental level. Yes. And you're still acting as you did as a child with very spontaneous reactions to situations.
Yeah, because I've seen cases where a 13-year-old, murdered somebody and then they go and try them as an adult. They don't have an adult mind. They don't have adult thought process. So how are you going to try them as an adult? Like, look into their mental health first and see what's going on in that household.
Right.
And the reason why.
So my super long episode just leads to the question, like, was she really prideful about what she had done, like the actual murder itself, or was she bragging in a sense that like a child would brag, like, I'm a big, bad, tough person, don't mess with me.
Yes.
Like, which way do you see that? Like, do you see it as she's just a monster? Or do you see it as she's thinking she's looking cool to these people because she did this?
And that's what I'm thinking. It's the mean girl. She's like trying to be the cool mean girl and show everybody that she's tough and, boasting about it and saying things about it. But it really happened, and now she has to deal with those consequences.
Right. I have to wonder if, like, it would be nice to see some, like, later interviews maybe with her. I know for a long time they kept her in, like, solitary confinement. She had to literally go back to court just to get the ability to engage with other people in prison. So, I would love to know if there was ever any other, because I didn't see them, but if there are interviews and any of you have seen it, please send it to me, because I want to see if there's something post that actually does reveal that she feels bad about what she did.
Yep.
Because that's my bigger question at this point is, does she at least now feel bad about it?
Right. Does she have any remorse? Does she reached out to the family and apologized or anything?
Yeah. That be that.
That be that.
So tell us what you think.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that still goes along with our spooky season because that was a scary one.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Mental health is scary.
Mental health is scary.
And they need to stop cutting funding for it and start helping people because
on a large scale,
the crisis is only getting worse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we thank Patty Salzetta for our beautiful theme music, as always. And like I said, message us on social media or send us an email at steeped@holdmysweettea.com.
Yep. And as always, Hold My Sweet Tea is a Drunken Bee production. Bzz. And you guys remember, stay safe out there. Check your mentals.
Check on your friends.
Check on your friends.
Don't talk them out of the dumb stuff.
Don't be embarrassed to go get help. It's available out there somewhere, somehow. And just because we're dipping doesn't mean you can't keep sipping.
Bye.